Beings in the air of alienation and hysteria. When the building of alienation manifests as a kind of hysteria, it is made of cedar and high-tension confusion, a paralysis. It helps to not think now. It helps to not think more sadly. It helps to think death is real, and it helps to think as an accident. It helps to think more because the storm is imaginary. It was a rough stone, the social foe, the decency of the thing, the rougher the wall. One time I switched. You can make medicine with rose hips, rosemary, marjoram, and tarragon. You can make medicine and not just live a normal life. You can make medicine, but then I've always been interested in sorcery. You can make medicine even if you don't deserve to. Then he glanced at the meaning that nobody else saw, but it's expensive. He saw words in the now, beings in the air. Do not waste it meaninglessly. Things were about to happen, and time was much more kind, bubbling up in itself, a little like your poems. The guests showed up. Stories of small things and old things. It is so good when a poem tells a story, and the love of it is simple in its being ordinary, like the old rotting field in itself, myrrh, myrtle, mentha with catnip, basil, primrose, allium, melissa, like the cared-for garden without concern for competition, like the deer that walked gingerly around our house for a year or so. That time I might have gotten Lyme disease from a bug bite, and my leg turned purple, and the black spread up the limb until I was feverish. My heart felt strange. I ended up in the emergency room on an IV. It's amazing how ordinary the emergency room is when you feel scared but also ashamed to be making such a fuss. Such are the little stories of life, which is close to death, for people like me with few stories to tell. Poets. Poets get too comfortably uncomfortable. They get too cute, like an awkward joke between smart teenagers. They laugh and laugh, but the atmosphere just gets worse and worse. If they would just stop being themselves, it would be a lot better. If they would just be themselves, it would be a lot better. If they would look out the window of their minds at the trees on the rocky outcropping, real trees, maybe even 100 years old, very nice, fall-like, because it is 50 in December, surrounded by marjorams and oregano, geraniums, parsley, aniseed. The world goes on. People write and grow and live and walk around on lunch breaks, like when I go into the convenience store and the dark-skinned South Asian clerk is a little rude and cautious with me, and I wonder if the regulars here have been assholes to him. I'm glad for bad poets and poetry. They make my job easy, tonic for the system, curing irritability of the ear at bad song. Maybe the important meaning of tonic is to tone things up in terms of bringing the good out of the mediocre and the bad, almost like clarifying. Styles as silences. I get bothered by the pointlessness, but who doesn't? Real change, real knowledge, traditional rhythms of satisfaction, these things can be invoked by style sometimes, and the timing of that invocation and arising depend on many factors. The discontinuous nature of speech allows for style. If it were solid, it would not be moldable. The world goes on. People write and grow and live and walk around on lunch breaks, like when I go to the convenience store, and the dark-skinned South Asian clerk is a little rude and cautious with me, and I wonder if the regulars here have been assholes to him. I'm glad for bad poets and poetry. They make my job easy, tonic for the system, curing the interplay. It wouldn't even happen. The interplay does not tend to envision the environment in different forms of silence. Stylistics as forms of silence. If this hasn't been discussed openly before, I hope to at least mention this. The implications of skill creating health of work and craftsmanship, but the opposite of an egocentric pick and choose your own path type of thing. The sleep is magic even. Waking and sleep mix. Sometimes things become transparent, clear, lucid. Irritations. What is it to be irritated? It is to have the world not cooperate when we know somehow it could, should, or has. Is it to be clumsy, like the words burnet, cowslip, and primrose? These are mild diuretics and can be applied for headaches. When irritable people get headaches, as if all the disappointment with the world is building up. A big argument with the world that could be won somehow, and this makes it all worse because once you get to that point, it usually can't be. So time plays in. It becomes an argument, not just with the world, but with time, and there's the sense of having missed your chance, but almost being able to win. Is irritation to see something you love and reject it? Is it a matter of being jealous of someone or something who's doing better than you, even just being themselves better than you? Or is irritation a matter of wisdom, seeing someone fucking up and making a mistake that should not be made? I look out the window to a wall of brick and windows, a park full of burnet, cowslip, and primrose. The poem I've just read has something, but not enough of it. It is not full of flowers and weeds. Irritation has something to do with earnestness, maybe too much of that sunlight of feeling. One doesn't exactly get irritated with monsters or con artists, scared, hateful, competitive even, but not irritated because they have some power. like a wall of light, like a building being built by men with tens of millions and access and confidence of vision? Does irritation build up into power, so that if I let myself get irritated enough over years and decades, eventually I become a monster of some standing, a confidence man, a twisted old beach hanging onto a sandhill of emotion and experience? Or does it weaken me, as I'm worried that it would, as people suggest when they tell me again and again that I have a bad temper? Needless to say, they do not. They are patient. Here's a better idea. That is both, and the measurement of it has more to do with the moment in time and the where than with any actual objectivity of seeing. It is irritation or something else deeper, like a park of old beech trees, burnet, cowslip, and primrose waving in the winds of time.